Welcome to Silver Linings Podcast. This is our weekly live, or it has been weekly. We aren't sure we'll continue weekly for the rest of the summer. We'll talk about that later. Welcome. I'm here with Adam, who's also Uncle Adam, because you're Tylee and JJ's uncle.
Yes.
So we like that, which makes me the grunkle, the great uncle for Tylee and JJ. That's what we like to remember. And it's Silver Linings Podcast. Thank you for joining us, Adam. We have a few things to talk about, but as always, we'll answer questions. We'll address questions. Some we'll answer if we know the answer.
Well, we'll answer. It just depends on what the answer is going to be. You may be happy or may not be happy, but we'll do the best that we can.
Exactly. And the first thing we want to talk about, let's get this right away so we don't forget, Adam. Okay. Some people were saying we haven't had as many listeners because our optimists that usually get notified didn't receive notifications of our last couple of podcasts. Would you please, in the comments, tell us if you know you didn't get notifications for the last podcast or two, or if you did get them, if you usually get them and you did get them. Let us know either way if you're signed up for notifications and you did get them or didn't get them. Our last podcast was excellent, as will be our next podcast. Adam, you want to talk about the last one and the next one?
Sure. Our last podcast, we talked with Darlene, who's been an optimist since day one, since the very first podcast. She told us her story about domestic violence and what happened with her and her son, and how she's healed from that, what we've learned from that, how to use your gut feeling and not ignore your gut feeling. I thought it was a great podcast. I learned a lot, and so that's up now on our podcast. It was episode number 50 as far as podcasts. Now, if we add in all the lives and all the other things that we've done, we're well over 100. And we've been doing this for now just over a year. So,
and Adam, we just went over 1 million listens.
1 million listens?
Yeah, I guess that's a thing. Or YouTube told us on 1 million on YouTube, which means we've had more than that.
Oh, nice.
A million people tuned in to listen to something. So.
The same person, the one person that listens to us, listened to it 1 million times.
Well, it's something like that. Could be that. We're putting a couple of highs up here, all the way from Australia, which outside of the United States, Australia has our most listeners.
Yeah.
Actually, I just saw that in the demographic. So other than the United States, Australia, Canada, Great Britain, the list goes on. But
I was saying back in the early days of our podcast, we Rex and I would go do these meet and greets when we did lives here in Arizona. I think we did one in Utah. Did we do anything else in California? No, I think we're just Utah and Arizona, right?
And we did 2 in Utah.
Yeah, but we got to meet a lot of people, and I think if we ever do a big meet and greet outside the U.S., it's got to be Australia. That's got to be the place to go, just because there's a lot of people that make comments from Australia, and I've always wanted to go to Australia. So there you go.
Oh, you're back to traveling now.
I'm still not back to traveling, but at some point, hopefully I will get back to that, because there are great beaches there and I want to try them.
Okay. So all the way from Australia to Utah, which of course is home for me. I'm not originally from Utah, but I met Lisa here 14 years ago, and this is the best place to be. Utah's great, but being next to Lisa is the best place to be. So that's why I'm here. A lot of people saying hi to us. We appreciate that.
I'm seeing Stacy. Oh, no, not Stacy. Hold on, let me go back. I don't want to screw this up like last time when I touched it and then it screwed everything up. Remember?
While he's doing that, thank you, Valerie, for telling us you got notified. Diana got notified.
Oh, good. Because there's people that reached out to me and said they didn't get a notification. They usually get one and they didn't get one. So some people are thinking that we're getting YouTube's giving us the shaft, maybe, but who knows?
Yeah.
I do want to say Stacy McCall said she made a comment. Darlene's story was amazing. She actually watched the podcast that's up now, and I thought it was too. Anybody that goes through trauma and comes out the other side and doing well, I'm a huge fan of finding silver linings, and we talked about finding silver linings in her life, things that she did. And amazing stories of how she got out of what she got into, and explaining. And we talked a lot about people. We talked a lot about people judging, and it just gets to that point. That's a great discussion. So if you haven't seen the podcast, you can see it. It's up now. It's episode number 50 with Darlene. But thank you, Stacy, for that comment.
And Lee tells us the notifications for some other channels haven't been working on and off, sporadic notifications. Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for that insight.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that. I can get that off my list, but we'll still be watching those comments. So thank you for commenting on that. So Adam, let's put a couple of these other start items. We want to thank Mel and Missy, our moderators that are working hard on this. See, they star comments, and then we select which ones we put on the screen here. So we don't get to all the comments, of course, but
except for I just read random stuff I'm on the live. I'm not on the start. I just on the live one, and I just randomly select ones to read.
Okay. Well, Brenda's been watching us from the beginning. A lot of people have been here from the beginning. I don't know what lavender blue means here. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. You never heard that before?
No, that's a cheer, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, missed out on that one.
It's because we never been to Australia. If we go there, right when you get off the plane, you get that. You just like when you go to Hawaii, they have lei waiting for you and they put it around your neck. When you go to Australia, everybody's chanting as soon as you get off the plane that.
Okay, good to know.
I'm assuming that that's the case.
Sasha, we appreciate this comment. These kind of comments keep us going. She says, hugs from the UK, you're helping more people than you know.
Oh.
We appreciate that, and we believe that because we don't know all the different ways people are getting helped. People surprise us all the time. You know, I'm getting helped this way or this other way. And so Adam and I have finally figured out it's not from anything we say, I don't believe, Adam. It's the fact that we have the platform here.
Yeah.
And people are tying in and they're listening to other people. They're communicating not just with us, but with each other. Different people are getting help different ways. And we love that. And if that helps people and we can provide the platform for all that help and people being helped, we love to do it. So thank you, Sasha, for acknowledging.
And the UK has got to be another place where we need to visit besides Australia.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see what this says. FYI, to better ensure you receive notifications, make sure that it is set to all instead of personalized. Thank you, Crystal DeSoto.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I don't know what that means. I don't get any notifications. I'm going to have to turn mine on so I can figure out what it means. I usually know when we have a podcast up, so I don't need the notification.
Usually. I like how you said I usually know.
Well, yeah. We don't take anything for granted, do we, Adam?
No.
Okay, let's see this one. I didn't read it all, but Stacy McCall again. Thank you, Stacy. Rex, I was totally impressed with your podcast skills last week. You were doing the podcast, emailing me and posting a picture. I was impressed. That's true. I was emailing Stacy, asking if she wanted to come on during the live.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because we didn't read that letter. We referred to it because neither one of us could have gotten through that letter. So
right, and you were asking her during that time, and you want to come on and read it. I thought that was great.
But Stacy, like a few of you, there are a few of you that are pending, and we will probably ask you every once in a while. But when you're ready to come on and tell your story, Stacy's one of those. We want to have you on. So let us know, people. Stacy and many others that have said, I have a story to tell. I think it'll benefit people. I'm not quite ready. And we honor that. Yeah. But we want to have you on when you're ready. So let us know when that is. We're glad to have you on. But this coming week on Tuesday, those of you on Patreon know because you get the podcasts early. But on Tuesday, there's a real treat. Adam, go ahead and talk about that one.
Well, we have on the parents of Gabby Petito, Petito, that and they've gone through some crazy stuff, and again, come out on the other end of how to help people. And it's amazing, like when you go through some hard trauma in your life, like Rex and I have, and you figure out how to try to turn into something positive, because there's so much negative in it. And they're a shining example of that. And they have a foundation and what they're still going through and how they deal with it. We talked about, all kinds of things of healing and dealing with stuff. And so, yeah, they're going to be on Tuesday. You'll be able to get that podcast. Hopefully you get a notification that it's coming, but that will be aired on Tuesday morning, probably 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm. And let me say, I know a lot of you, if not all of you, are familiar with the case of Gabby Petito a few years ago. It made world news like ours did, and we loved connecting with Gabby's mom and her stepdad, and that's who we have on the podcast. Now, Gabby's dad and his wife are also very active, and the four of them collaborate a lot. But we didn't talk a lot about the actual tragedy, about Gabby, we talked a lot about domestic abuse because that was the topic. But Gabby went cross country with a boyfriend, ended up getting murdered by the boyfriend. They finally found her body after a long search. They found his body after a longer period of time. He committed suicide later and confessed to the murder of Gabby. Tragic situation. But we didn't talk a lot about the details because so many people know so much about it, and they are so active. The Schmidt is their last name, Nicole and Jim Schmidt, but they're so active with the silver linings, making positive things happen from that tragedy. That's what we talked about. And I believe you'll really want to hear it. They are doing so much. And so if you aren't familiar with the case, you might want to look it up and get the background so you'll know the context of what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was impressed with a lot of things that they said, and of course we went through, parenting. And if you're a parent of a grown child and your grown child is in a domestic violence situation, and as a parent, what do you do? If you don't know about it, what do you do? If you do know about it, what are red flags? There's a lot. I mean, I didn't really know a lot about domestic violence, but the last few podcasts and stuff that we've talked to people, I've learned a lot. So yeah. I'm always learning. I'm always learning on this podcast.
Me too, from Darlene's podcast and then from the Schmidt's podcast. Speaking of Darlene's, Brenda said, I enjoyed watching Darlene from the podcast. She was wonderful. Thank you for having her around, and we appreciate that, and we thank her again for being on and sharing. For some people, it's not easy to come on. That's why many people, as I mentioned, are waiting to come on, and it's tough, but we certainly appreciate it because everyone in the community benefits from it. Whether you are dealing with that particular adversity or not, we benefit from hearing people's traumas and how people found hope and healing. We have a good morning here from Mia Louise Travels. Good morning from this Australian from Koh Samui, Thailand. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I just gave it my best shot. So listening to us from Thailand, that's out of the ordinary, isn't it?
An Australian visiting Thailand for vacation or living there. Living there. That's another place we got to add is Thailand. There's so many places. I just don't want to get on a plane. That's the problem. I need to borrow Lori's portal so I can just show up somewhere.
Well, it would help, one, if you would talk to her, and two, if she really had one.
Did the police confiscate her and Chad's portals out of their closets?
I don't think the police needed to.
Oh, okay.
I think natural law confiscated their portals before they actually got
You
them.
don't think the police actually went into their closet and looked for a portal
I don't think
when
they
they
needed.
investigated that?
I'm more
Sorry,
of a
I have dark humor.
I'm more of a believer in natural law than that. Although I've been exposed, to the energy world,
Yeah.
and I like my exposure. I like the education in the energy world, and there is a lot to offer there. I believe in energy, and we know it's a fact. There's electromagnetic energy around all of us. There's a lot to learn from that, but them showering together in their portal isn't one of the facts of natural law there.
Can we talk about Julie Rowe's interview with Nate Eaton?
I think we need to because so many people have brought it up.
Oh my gosh. I mean, seriously, what was that?
Okay, well,
what was that?
tell us first of all what you're referring to now.
Well, Julie Rowe obviously was a person that my sister Lori thought was amazing at the very beginning. That, oh my gosh, she knows everything about the second coming. She knows this, she knows that. And Lori at one point told me that she thought that her and Julie Rowe were sisters in a pre-existence or something like that, that they knew each other from a different life. And I was like, who's Julie Rowe? I didn't even know who Julie Rowe was. And she goes, oh, you got to read her book. You got to, she has a podcast, all this stuff. And of course, obviously I never went and looked up Julie Rowe or anything. But the funny thing about that is I have a friend, my friend Eric, Eric. Eric lives in Tucson. And at some point, Julie Rowe moved to Tucson and was in Eric's ward. Julie Rowe ended up in Eric's house because she was a visiting teacher for his wife, Inger. Julie Rowe sat on the couch for 5 minutes talking with Inger, and Eric got up and walked out and was like, she is a nut job. That's what he said. And so at that point, I was like, okay, so that's Julie Rowe. Why is she a nut job? I don't understand. And
well, let me offer this. He sat on the couch for 5 minutes. It probably only took him 1 minute to figure it out. And he is polite for the other 4 minutes.
4 minutes, but he has no patience. He's like, I'm not sticking around for this. And then I don't know what happened, but she's been excommunicated from the church. She has her own situation going on. She talked about how she talks to Jesus, just like Lori, just like Chad. Same kind of, things are going on there. And she's still talking like she talks to Jesus, and all that stuff. So who knows? It's just, did anybody watch that, or did anybody know anything about Julie Rowe before that interview? What did you think of it? How did you handle it? There's a lot of comments on there too. And I guess, Rex, was this something that was, she was interviewed a long time ago, but Nate never aired it?
Okay, so here's that story. There's an interview posted just 3 or 5 days ago, Nate Eaton interviewing Julie. And the interview was back in June of 2020, just 3 or 4 days before they found Tylee and JJ's bodies, was the interview. It never aired. This, according to the post at the very beginning of that, what was posted a few days ago.
Okay.
So I am not familiar with any other interviews that Nate has done with Julie Rowe. And I couldn't find it because we were wondering, people started talking about it. And I said, well, I know he posted that one. Did he do another one? And I couldn't find another one. So I believe it was the interview that was 4 years old.
Okay.
So,
but it's still new to everybody because no one's ever seen it.
Yeah, he's never posted it. So if someone knows differently than that, let us know. Not that I'm anxious to go out and find it. And I know we like to be positive on the show. I know we don't like to disparage people, but I guess I'm a little bit like Eric, but I think I went longer than Eric with I got bragging rights. I may have gone 8 minutes, maybe 10, because I kept fast forwarding just looking for different things. And I just couldn't listen to it. My saving grace, I told Adam this, my saving grace, it was so, the way I describe it is darkness. It was so dark. Her beliefs and what she expresses to me were so dark. My saving grace was I looked up on my YouTube, and the next video that was in line, and fortunately I clicked on it, was Harry Mack rapping for Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. And oh, that was wonderful. So if you aren't a Harry Mack fan, I recommend him to you.
Yeah,
He does impromptu raps or raps off the top of his head. And that got me out of that darkness. But watching that, it was just a dark feeling. I didn't like listening to it. It's reminded me of situations I've had with other people in the past that believe similarly. All the beliefs that the people have in common from the book, Visions of Glory, and they're talking about these different probations and how they're special and they can see through the veil and all of this stuff that I don't particularly believe, and especially not when these people are talking about in the context in which they talk about it, which is focused on them being, having a Messiah complex. It's to me, again, I'm just expressing my opinion as y'all allow us to do on occasion. It's just a Messiah complex. It's a mental illness when people talk like that to me. Sorry, Adam, had to go off on that.
No, that's why, I mean, when I started, it just popped up on my YouTube and I was like, what's this? And I thought it was a brand new interview. I had no idea. And I was like, wow, why did Nate get Julie Rowe on? And back then she had like dark hair and stuff. Did she change her look, or did she try to change the way she looks or something, her appearance? Or because didn't she come incognito at the trial or at court or something?
She did. And she's been through a few transformations. And so the one I saw was from 4 years ago when she looked like she had up until then. But, Adam, we've had family members involved with her, and, it didn't turn out too well for those family members. And we had one on the show, Brax, talked about early on. He was a proponent of Julie Rowe, and, just didn't turn out. People kind of see through her.
But doesn't she still have like a lot of followers? Like, is she a psychic? Like, people pay her to tell them, oh, I want to talk to my so-and-so on the other side that's died. And she communicate. Do you know anything about that?
I know nothing about that.
Okay. Maybe that's just a rumor or something, but I heard that she gets paid. Like, people pay her to talk to people who have passed on, almost like Whoopi Goldberg's character in the movie Ghost.
That was hilarious.
Exact, but that's what I think that she does for a living, or to make money.
I don't know that. I think psych is a part of the right description, but I don't know if ick is the correct ending on that. But I don't know what she does or who follows her. I don't know anything. Maybe some people know, and we'll see it in the comments here.
Oh, okay.
And of course, 2 or 3 of you are changing the subject from that. Very good. We applaud that.
Oh, what's the subject? Where are we going to?
No, that we were talking about Julie Rowe. Other people are saying, "Hey, what do you think of those of the Olympics?" Or
well, we can talk about my chili too. What do you put in your chili? Because I put cream cheese in mine, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. A block of cream cheese in your chili. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
You can cook yours on your sidewalk, though. You don't even need an oven there in Phoenix.
A crock pot. Hey, can I buy a crock pot? You don't need one. Just throw it up on the sidewalk there. Oh, girl.
Damasio's asking me to represent for Swig here.
Okay.
This Damasio is a raspberry dream. Thanks for asking.
I have a zero sugar Fanta orange, which I'm a huge fan of zero sugar orange drinks.
Yep.
course, Minute Maid has the best zero sugar orange. Oh, it's amazing.
Well, we have a lot of stars. We better get going in these stars since we brought that up.
So, are we going to talk chili? We're going to talk Julie Rowe. We got like 30 different comments coming down.
Diane L asked, "Have either of you had a near-death experience? What a wackadoodle!" Now, the wackadoodle may be referring to us or to Julie Rowe, but
yeah,
I have not had. I've had a near-death experience, not one where I went through, saw the light, and saw Jesus. I had one in a dune buggy one time when my life flashed before my eyes. But
what happened when you had your stroke? Did anything happen with you with that? Like, did you? Like, we never even talked about this.
It was Bell's palsy.
No, when you had your heart attack, was it a heart attack or?
Yeah, I had a heart attack, but I wasn't near death.
Okay. Yeah, we never talked about that.
Yeah, it was. Lisa took it a lot harder than I did. It's kind of a fascinating sitch. Just real quickly, because they put a camera up, they did everything through here. So all my heart scar was just through my wrist, and they put a camera in my heart so they could watch and do things. And I'm laying there watching because they didn't give me any anesthesia.
What, did they knock you out?
No, because they asked me. They said, "Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level?" And do you know who Brian Regan is?
Yes, the comedian. Yeah,
he
clean
does this
comedian.
whole thing about, they asked me my pain scale, and on a scale of 1 to 10, well, a 10 is a broken femur, which is supposed to be the worst pain. I guess so I went with the Brian Regan thing. I said, well, if I don't have a broken femur, so it's not too bad. I guess it's a 3.
Oh.
They said, okay, no anesthesia.
A 3. I would always say, all right, give me the morphine. I'm at a 9.5.
No, so I laid there and watched these instruments in my heart. You watch it on the screen, and I could feel it in there. That is so bizarre. That's a surreal feeling.
That is a near-death experience. You had one. You didn't know you had one.
I wasn't. Yeah, but I didn't die.
You were outside your body watching that. You weren't even in your body.
It wasn't nearly as dramatic as I tell people because I need to get attention. So, let's see what else do we have here. Tori Myers, Julie Rowe scares me. That's a good description. Hard to watch and stopped. I blame Julie for leading people astray. I also do that. I believe a lot of people have been led astray by her, just as she, I believe, has been led astray. So I'm with you on that, Tori.
So she scares you. That's a good way to describe it, because it is scary that there's, Lori and Chad are going to be in jail the rest of their lives. But there's other people that, who knows what they believe or what they're.
Well, and because of those beliefs, let's just say it, Adam, so people aren't thinking we're dancing around it. Because of those beliefs, they led to Lori and Chad murdering their children, their spouses, and who knows who else because of those beliefs. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I am not implicating Julie Rowe in those murders, but those same beliefs, of course, they both were followers and fond of Julie Rowe.
Yeah.
So that is a scary is.
Yeah, that's scary. That's a good way to. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. So Stacy McCall said, I watched it and knew of her before the interview, but she has gone beyond delusional. I can see just why you say that. That's beyond a lot of things. Alicia, Nate kept saying he didn't know if he wanted to post the interview. Now we see why. Because the interview was in June of 2020, just a few days before they found the children. Then they found the children, so he didn't post that interview and hasn't posted it until now. Adam and I had this discussion. We have always been fans of Nate, and we still are. And we appreciate that Nate will interview people and post it. He takes a lot of heat. I don't know if a lot is the right word, but I just can't imagine why people are like this. They don't realize he's a reporter. He's a journalist. And so why wouldn't he interview people that he might not personally agree with, or a lot of his listeners might not agree with? Why not give all sides? You're a reporter, report it all. He does that very well, very professionally. I'm just
Yeah, but as
big
as an interviewer, you're supposed to ask questions. I don't think Nate agreed with her about anything, but sometimes it's like if you're interviewing and the person you're interviewing is literally in la la land, it's hard to sometimes to because then you're on to your next question, and then you're on to your next question. And it's hard sometimes not to say anything when you know what they're telling you is not true. You have to allow them to say how they feel and what they want and go to the next question. It's different. It's difficult being an interviewer. So I commend him. I thought he did a good job with that.
Of course, Adam has decades of interviewing people, celebrities, all sorts of people. So you know what you're saying, and we got a taste of it. I know when we were interviewing Brax. Now, Brax is my nephew, Adam's cousin. I love Brax, but he was saying a couple of things we didn't agree with, and we could tell when we were interviewing him, he was laying it on thick about, yeah, Chad was just enamored with Lori, this gorgeous, model type person. And he said that a few times. Well, people are going to take that and he's going to get hammered in social media when he's talking like that. But you don't pop up in the middle of the interview and say,
No,
Brax, lay off because you want them to talk as them. You don't want to try to lead what you think they should say.
I think everybody has the right to say what they want, and then after that, everybody can make their own judgments on what they want to judge on.
Yeah. So Brenda Fulda, I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. She is so crazy. I watched the interview. I was not impressed with her. Yeah, we haven't had any fans of Julie Rowe yet come up in the comments here.
But apparently she's got followers. I wonder if she doesn't have followers anymore. I wonder if after the whole Chad and Lori thing, if everybody just skedaddled and just was like, okay, this was all just nonsense, or do people still believe in the probations and all the things that, Chad was spewing?
Well, according to Stacy, and of course we're Stacy fans, and so we're on Stacy's side. Her Instagram is even worse. She talks of Jesus as she up a storm, and I mean the really bad words.
Oh,
Stacy being diplomatic,
right?
But, that just, to most of us, that seems inconsistent to talk about being friends with Jesus or all that, and then your character is different than you would think it would be if you were friends with Jesus. Let's see. Lee says, have you seen Julie's rant, growling and saying she is the apex predator, threatening people by name? That one is beyond art. I have not, because I don't watch anything related with Julie except, again, less than 10 minutes of this interview with Nate.
So does she have her own YouTube, or does she have her own podcast, or how does she communicate with her people?
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll see if someone gives us the answer here in the comments. Of course, we're just talking about her because it's related to the case, because she was good friends with Chad, business associates. Julie told, if you remember, Nancy Grace that she how do you say this delicately, Adam? That she was one of those groupies. Yeah, we were married in a former life, so we can have sex now.
Yeah,
and then Julie says on Nancy Grace, but my husband knows. Like, okay, well that makes it okay then.
Yeah.
But, that whole, there's a term for this, Adam. They call it spiritual wifery or wiffery.
Really?
And apparently, there is a whole subculture of that associated with these conferences. Sean Littlebear, who is one of the personalities in this whole group, said, yeah, when they had those conferences, all these different people were hooking up in this spiritual wifery, saying, yeah, it's okay because we knew we were married in a previous life. So it's
like a swinger, like a swingers party.
kind of like a swingers party, but in a swingers
What?
party, from what I understand, you have your spouse
Come on,
involved.
Rex, tell us about the swingers.
You have your spouse involved, and these people were just
Just random.
yeah. So well, not
Wow.
randomly. You know, people of like mind saying, "Sure, we were married in a previous world. I remember that."
Oh my gosh.
Just bizarre.
Jeez.
Just bizarre.
What is happening? What is happening in our world? It is out of control.
So Bianca, you're helping so many people, and it's fantastic. Love watching you and hearing your insights. It's hard for you guys too. Thank you, Bianca. I think that is Bianca, not Blanca. Bianca's not talking about the Julie Rowe thing now. She's talking about the rest of it, I believe. But we appreciate it either way. She
The
may or may
healing,
not
the
love
healing
Michael
journey.
Rock. Yeah, the healing journey. Bianca may or may not enjoy hearing about the spiritual wifery thing. That's not what she's saying. I just happened to pop up this comment.
You caught me by surprise with that, and you got all my attention on that. I'm like, wait, where are we going with this? Like, what is this? I've never even heard of this.
Okay.
Did Chad come up with that, or somebody else?
The previous words?
The wifery thing.
Oh no, that's been around.
That was before Chad?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's been around. Apparently there's a whole from what I'll tell you what, I won't say it now. I'll go back and read what I read. But I read something about this around the Rexburg area, same time, same basic group of people. But one guy talked about it and named names. He named like 20 people that were involved. And so
well, when Julie Rowe was on Nancy Grace, or who was she when she said she had sex with Chad? She was on an interview. Was that Nancy Grace?
That's the one I was referring to.
Oh, so when she said that, she said it's okay because my husband knows about it. So her husband
did not say it's okay. I can't quote her, but Nancy Grace is grilling her on it.
Yeah,
and
I would too. I'd be like, so.
She said, "Did you fall for that?" And Julie Rowe said, "Yes. But my husband knows about it."
Okay, so he does know. Okay.
Well, that was a husband many years ago.
Oh.
And apparently she got divorced from that husband, was married again.
How does Julie Rowe get a guy? Like, what's her pickup line? Like, that to me is bizarre. Like, you meet her on a dating app, and then you go meet her at a dinner, and she's like, today me and Jesus were hanging out, and he was talking about the flowers, how we should change the colors of the flowers outside. And, okay, let's get married.
Moving on.
Sorry, I'm off in left field.
Tori Myers. This is Tori Myers. Moving on. What's your favorite sport to watch? The Winter Olympics are coming to Salt Lake in 2034.
I heard that.
Yeah, that's very good. Adam, your favorite sport to watch?
Curling in curling.
Is,
oh, I love curling. I love curling. I love playing shuffleboard, so it's kind of like shuffleboard.
How old are you?
Curling is amazing in the Winter Olympics. That's the most watched. It's the most watched thing in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, I doubt it.
It is. Read up on it.
Okay, I'll do that. Oh, I like this. Cindy noticed my new background. A gift from Lisa, my wife. Cindy Hensley says, "Rex, I really like your new background." Lisa got me that. And the plant that's over there, because we had a good friend over today, Melissa, who's also one of the optimists. And a shout out to Melissa. And Lisa was showing her we have Murphy beds in these spare rooms. And Lisa brought her in here and showed her this room, and she said, after showing her Lisa's office, which of course looks like a woman's office, a woman that has high class office, then she comes into my office and looks around and says, "You really need to decorate Rex's office." So Lisa had offered before. It's not bad. It's not like it's cluttered. It just looks like a guy works here instead of, someone.
Well, luckily you have a wife that can do that. I have my hats were clean today, so they're all outside getting dried out. So there's like a bare wall. I only got like 4 hats that are up right now.
Ask your roommate to decorate. I like what he did with your spare room there.
Oh, yeah. So my roommate's Blue. By the way, he's gone this weekend. He went to San Diego for Comic-Con. So he's there right now for Comic-Con. And, he's a big time comic book, toys. Him and his brother have an online toy store that they sell toys and stuff. So, yeah, he's probably not going to want to come and decorate my hat wall. There's definitely no woman's touch in this room. I can tell you that.
Well, Lisa brought me in a plant to try to make it look.
See, that's nice. I don't have any plants in here. Nothing.
Yep. Very good. Let's move on. Kate, hello from Ontario, Canada. Looking at this, Alicia, very generously again. Alicia with a super sticker. Thank you, Alicia. Very generous. And Lisa Greenleaf, since I started watching from the beginning of the podcast, it feels like I know you like Friends. That's how we feel too. Thank you, Lisa. I'm interested in the topics that are shared. Maybe not the last couple topics, but
no, the chili topic was amazing.
I don't comment since I watch you on Roku. Okay, yeah, not an avenue for watching on there. So
I get charged $10 a month on Roku, and I don't even have it anymore. It's so annoying.
We're glad you're with us, Lisa. Okay, let's see. We talked about my swig drink. We'll move on from that. Oop, I said we'll move on. Then I bring
go right back to the swig drink. What kind of swig drink is it again? You raspberry something. We didn't get the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's okay. That's okay. No. I don't think you were that interested.
I can go right back. I can go right back to this if you want. Here's Fanta Orange, 0 sugar, one of the best.
Lee said Nate posted after people had been asking him to post for several years. He said he didn't want to air it before once the precious kids were found. Don't blame him for that. Doesn't really give you a lot of insight. Well, I don't know. In the 8 minutes I listened to, she of course didn't know what had happened to the kids, and
well, she said she said they were fine before that.
Shuffling through all her stuff, and
yeah, just like when you call Lori or Chad out on something, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's supposed to happen on this day." Well, it's because of this. There's always an excuse with these people that predict stuff.
I like Jessica's wording here. Jessica Zopi. Or Zoppy. Julie's interview was wild. How Nate kept a straight face. He deserves a bloody medal.
Yes, I agree. Because there's some things that popped out of her mouth, and I was like, what's he going to do? And a lot of women, the comments on his scroll were like, how do the eye rolls do not? Like every woman eye rolls. And the eye rolls watching that, probably like across the world watching that, the eye rolls were probably in unison.
Abby Kilgore says, I want to applaud Nate Eaton for not busting out laughing.
Yeah.
She is cray-cray.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of the people agreeing here, Abby, including us. And Bianca said, I watched this interview. She constantly lies and has narcissistic backpedaling when Nate asks her a hairy question. I think she knows. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think she knows more about the kid. She wasn't involved with them in that time frame. And so I don't know that she knows more about the case, but obviously background stuff, well, that it is what it is, I guess. Just a strange situation. Here's a comment from Sasha. Nate looked really spooked in the interview. Think she had more going on with Chad than just friends? Yeah. Yeah, at one point they were married in a prior probation, apparently. So that's just weird stuff.
Who do you say, Lucky Chad or Lucky Julie?
Neither one. That's kind of like the same question: who was the mastermind? No one.
Yeah, exactly. There's no mastermind with that.
Neither one. Free to Soar says, I've listened to Julie Rowe on 2 podcasts for a grand total of 10 or 15 minutes each time. Yes, in my opinion, she's a nut job. We're just expressing opinions here. None of us know her, but we all have similar opinions, don't we, Free to Soar? Let's see. from Damasio, Julia's straight maniac all the time. That's what's scary about the whole movement. They're absolutely not deep thinkers or using any sense of logic, but that manic energy is contagious. That's a great observation, Damasio. You talk like you're a deep thinker when you talk about different dimensions and different probations and different worlds. And I can go out and do what do they call it? Astro traveling at night, and I visit all these different creations. And that is not deep thinking at all, especially because none of it is original. I haven't heard much original, and I know they get a lot of their ideas from the book Visions of Glory, but even the visions Chad pretended to have and wrote about, they were copies of stuff that was going around that I'm familiar with back in 1990. So I don't know anyone. I mean, I knew some people. I had some friends back from growing up that got involved in that, and that's why I knew about it around the 1990s. They'd share things with me, and I'd like to converse about it. But yeah, deep think. I don't think you can convict any of those people for deep thinking. I think if they were put on trial for deep thinking, there wouldn't be any evidence, is my opinion also, Damasio.
And not even creative, just copy.
Yeah. Let's see, trying to catch up on these starred questions here. So many people, this is from Nina Canadian. So many good people shine through during this tragedy. Nate in East Idaho, Kay and Larry, and so many more. Amen. Keep up the good work, you calm people. Amen to that. And we don't even agree with all of the good people, but we say they are good people that shine through. There are so many silver linings, and Larry described it really well. He said, you get together with the people that are there for various reasons, and it's like a big family. It really is that feeling when we talk to people. And Adam talked about his connection with Matt Daybell, and just you meet people that you know of, or their connection, and right away you have a connection with them. And so that's why, for me, I don't mind bringing this up. For me, meeting Annie Cushing in person was a totally different experience than just knowing of her and what she said and etc. It's you just appreciate the connection you have with people. Now, just like in families, you don't always agree, and sometimes you fight. Sometimes the fights aren't pretty. But there is a connection with all the people there. So, and a lot of good work being done for a lot of people. And I've said this many times, I appreciate, since I brought up Annie, the fact that she runs a group, or she has a platform, and it attracts the kind of people that we believe she is. And we are so grateful that they have a place to go, because when they were with us, it wasn't the same environment for us that we have now, same community we have. And we are glad they have a place to go to find like minds. And there's nothing wrong with being with like minds, and not being with us that have different minds. Not better or worse, just different. Diana Simplify says, I enjoyed Brax's interviews. We enjoyed Brax's interviews too, Diana. Love Brax. And he is a personality just larger than life in the family, and very, very enjoyable. And he's comfortable being himself and speaking his mind. Stacy also says, Stacy McCall, I give you credit for being an interviewer, Adam. An excellent interview. I couldn't do it. My daughter bought me a cup that says, can't roll my eyes hard enough.
Right. I mean, I've been involved in some interviews, and sometimes it's hard to I know you have to let them say what they want to say and then come up with another question. And even though when you know that it's like, people are like, what are they saying? It can be difficult sometimes, but as long as I've learned not to throw in my 2 cents, I just allow them to do their whole thing.
Okay, so just one. You have interviewed dozens and dozens of people. Can you think of one celebrity interview you've done like that, where you just had to bite your tongue to not?
Well, I've interviewed some pretty big celebrities like Will Ferrell and Will Smith and, some big names. But then there's a guy, I remember this because the smaller the actor, the more ego they have. Like Will Ferrell was the nicest guy in the world. Like Gwen Stefani and Rihanna, everybody that's superstars are super nice and easygoing. But then you get like a B or a C level actor, and then they think that they are it. And then it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Revenge of the Nerds, but there's a character in there named Booger. And I don't even know what his acting name was, but we interviewed him for some reason because he was on some show. And he had the biggest attitude. Like I was like, and then finally I let it slip because I couldn't take it anymore, how he was talking and acting. And I was like, dude, you're Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. And my whole morning show, we were all busting up because it was like, dude, this guy is taking himself way too serious. Yeah, I snapped. I wasn't a great interviewer that time.
So you have had your moments.
Yeah, I've had a few moments.
Okay, here's some insight on Julie from Lee. Julie has TikTok, still gets paid for energy work, and does conferences. I've only seen her videos reposted by others. The growling threat was after Lauren interviewed her former best friend. Okay, there's some insight from Lee. Thank you, Lee, for that. And let's see. The portal they hook up in the portal. I guess there's a movie or something.
The portal they hook up in is the portal. I'm surprised the Chandler Police Department didn't go in the closet and look for it.
Oh, yeah. They could have found a lot of evidence there.
Yeah.
So Lee says Adam needs some cow wall art.
Cow wall. Oh, yeah. I do have the blow up cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's deflated now, but I need to inflate it and hug it some more. Put it up on the wall. Just put it on the wall. Like a total guy's room. There's no girl. There's nothing in there that looks like nice. It's just all messed up.
Erica Mesa says, happy Saturday. Same to you, Erica. I had no idea who Julie Rowe was, and her interview came on after I listened to your interview with Darlene. I made it 2 whole minutes before I had to shut it off.
You need her. You had 8. At least you got 8 into that, Rex. You only had 2.
Yeah, and to me, it was just so dark. It's just, I know I said that already. I'm repeating myself, but it's just hard to listen to. I like to pretend at least to be open-minded and listen to different viewpoints, but my life doesn't need that type of darkness right now.
Yeah. We got to take care of ourselves too. When you go down a road where it's dark or you get PTSD like I did in that movie, The Iron Claw, me and Zach, we both started crying in that movie. We were like, we got to get out of here. It's like it hit us. It was like about that family being cursed. I was like, is our family cursed? We both of us felt the same exact thing.
That's scary. Tori Myers asks, Adam, what celebrity would you want to play you if you, and it got cut off, I'm thinking if you were in a movie or they made a movie about this?
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is like when this all happened, I had Hollywood producers calling me and saying we want to do a whole movie about Lori's life and all that, and they were like all gun ho and wanted me to sign some papers and all this stuff. And I remember I was outside the radio station walking around talking with this producer from LA, and he's like, well, who do you want to play you? I was like, I have no idea. He goes, we'll get Tatum Channing to play you. And I'm like, what? Channing Tatum. I was like, oh my gosh, that guy's like, he's nothing like me. But I would say, especially with glasses, I would say I would want Vince Vaughn. I love Vince Vaughn. Him and I talk fast. A lot of Rex's daughters compare me to Vince Vaughn a lot. So probably Vince Vaughn. Yeah, somebody else said, who was the other guy that's on Jason Bateman too? Both of those guys. I like both of them.
Okay. While we're on celebrities, Adam, did you watch the final episode of Presumed Innocent?
I have not.
Giving a shout out for...
I could watch that today. I remember you got to remind that.
Great nephew and Adam's cousin who plays the son in Presumed Innocent, the series that's on, I think it's on Netflix, I believe. So
yeah,
it was the final episode of the season. So no spoilers here, but those people, all of them in that family are great actors. I mean, the family that was on TV. And Kingston, I think he goes by Kingston Rumi Southwick. But Kingston, first acting job, man, he was incredibly good. But
I'm going to watch that today. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, big twist at the end. I'm not spoiling it for you.
Okay. I did like the movie, though, so if it's anything like the movie, yes.
Well, it's like the movie in that there's a big twist at the end. It's just not the same twist, so you're expecting it to go one way.
And it doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay. So one more comment, and we're almost out of time. We only have one more star, so
perfect.
It's that convenient. Cheryl Torrey, and thank you, Mel. It looks like Missy had to drop off. It may be the dogs in her background or something, but Mel's still powering through here.
Mel goes strong. She goes with a smiling face for the whole hour.
I know. I'm just thinking she's laughing at us, not with us.
Yes.
So she probably knows too much, knows more than
she likes when I can't come on, so she can co-host with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can talk about you. Yeah, so Cheryl Torrey says, Nate did a great job covering the case from the beginning, and I do continue to watch him, but I really couldn't watch the Julie Rowe. I secretly blame her for starting the chain of events. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, and I can see how you'd say that. But when I assign blame, I always have to go straight to Chad, Lori, Alex, and any other co-conspirators that murdered the children or were complicit in murdering the children. So there are a lot of influences around them, and I think she influenced that way of thinking in them. And I personally think she influenced. I think Chad was jealous of jealous and realized, oh, Julie, with these near-death experiences, she gets a lot of followers. And that's when Chad suddenly remembered my version of the story, oh, I had near-death experiences too, because Julie's gained so much attention and getting popular from this, I'm going to get popular too. I really believe that's how it went down. So I think I'm agreeing with Cheryl. It's right. Just when I say blame, I put it on the murderers.
And Julie Rowe was a influencer for sure in Lori's life, but she didn't do all the things that Lori, went on to do. But I do want to talk about Nate for a second, because when all this stuff was going down, and I knew in my gut all this stuff was happening, and nobody was doing, I didn't feel like anybody was doing anything about it. I felt like they let Charles' death go. Alex and Lori just went free. And then then Lori gets married. Tammy dies, Alex dies, like all these things happen. And, for Nate to go to Hawaii and track them down and put this on TV, without that, I don't think it would have got the traction that it did. I really believe that Nate really went above and beyond to bring this to life. So, because I was afraid they were going to all get away with it. And I was burning up inside because, I thought, well, they got away with Charles's murder. Then all this, there's no red flags that Tammy's dead and Charles is dead and Lori and him are married in Hawaii. Why is my family not seeing this? And the kids were the only thing that brought, the whole thing down was the kids were killed. And for Nate to fly and track them down and he really did a amazing job to bring this to life, to really put pressure on the authorities to actually investigate this. And so I big props to Nate for that. He's done a great job covering this.
Yeah, and if you've seen Nate talk about it, this is more than just a news story. I mean, he's involved, as are so many of the media people, definitely law enforcement, definitely the legal teams. But Nate is the face of the media that brought all this attention. Justin Lum in Arizona brought attention early on that was so needed down there. Because people were in fear while Alex was alive. And you heard, if you listen to the interview of Nate with Ray Hermosillo, he and his family were scared while Alex was alive because he had been labeled dark. Adam didn't know he'd been labeled dark, but he was scared anyway because that possibility existed that he was on the list because he was so close to it. And the media is what got a little of that pressure and fear calmed down, because now these people are under a microscope, whereas before they were just running around doing whatever they wanted and apparently getting by with it, at least for the short term. So,
right.
Big props to all of them, Nate being the face of a lot of that. So thanks for being with us on this Saturday or Sunday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, depending on where you are. Thanks for being part of this community. We love this community. We don't know if Mel or Missy had to deal with any negative comments. We usually don't find them.
No, she's saying her head, and she's shaking her head. No, this is all good.
This is just a wonderful community.
A good group. We had a good group today.
Part of it. Be sure you go back and listen to the podcast on Tuesday, and then the podcast coming up this Tuesday, and we will talk with you again. Adam, any closing comments?
No, you're good.
Okay, take care.